In our last two sessions, we discussed a letter from a man who suspected that his 16-year-old son was using drugs. He wanted to do something, but he didn't want to upset his son. I suggested that the father treat this like a life or death emergency and get a drug evaluation immediately. Now, back to the writer of the letter. As you get this evaluation, remember that there can be no disappointment or anger here. Zero. If your son is using drugs, he's doing it only to treat the pain in his life. People use drugs to diminish the pain they feel because they don't feel sufficiently loved. And if your son doesn't feel loved, that almost certainly involves how you have treated him. If you don't face why your son has been using drugs, you will not be able to help him at all, even if he gets professional help. I have watched hundreds of people go all the way through inpatient professional treatment only to go immediately back to drug use, as in they go from drug treatment straight from the door of the drug treatment center right straight to drug use within minutes because the real cause of the problem was never addressed. Human behavior is not complicated. If we have sufficient real love, we're happy. If we don't, we're empty and afraid. A child will do anything to avoid feeling unloved and alone. He'll lie, attack, act like a victim, cling, and run. Using drugs is a form of running. Drugs provide a distraction from the pain of feeling empty and alone. While a child is under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, amphetamine, and so on, he feels less criticized, rejected, afraid, and unloved. Simple. Those are the worst feelings in the world, and he'll do whatever it takes to get rid of them, even if it's illegal and even if it's irritating to his parents, like you. You have to recognize that your son uses drugs primarily because he doesn't feel sufficiently loved, and he almost certainly doesn't feel loved by you. I know you've done your best to love him. I'm not blaming you for anything here. Be clear about that. But the only kind of love that counts for a child is real love, unconditional love. What most parents do is give their children acceptance and affection only when they're good, when they're doing what their parents like. That's the natural thing to do. But when children misbehave, we almost always indicate in 100 ways, sighing, rolling our eyes, changing our tone of voice, using harsh words, and so on, that they're unacceptable. That is not real love. It's a hard truth for most parents to accept, that they have not loved their children unconditionally. I didn't for almost my whole life as a parent. But if you'll consider that possibility, you can begin to help your son. There's no need to feel guilty here. You could not have given your son real love if you didn't get it yourself. We can't give what we don't have. And as a result, very few parents are capable of loving their children unconditionally. Here on the website, you can learn a lot more about real love. Learn how to love your son. And this apparent crisis in your lives can turn into a wonderful opportunity to draw you closer to him. Take advantage of it.